All right, guys. So today we made around 1,500. As you can see here, let me play some music here. My background music. I don't know if I can hear that. All right, let me turn it back down. All right, yeah, copyrighted. Start with this chart. Weekly drawn liquidity. We had a clear buy side imbalance that the market is reaching for in the weekly time frame. Start down to the daily time frame. We had a daily inversion forming. This was not respected at all. Clear drawn liquidity for now. On the daily perspective, we swept the high, failed to continue pushing higher, push down lower. Of course, what the market is going to want to continue moving down lower. So that was my initial bias. I drew the sell side objective because again, we could retrace, tap up into that, and then push down lower again. It's like more of like your market structure shift, your key low, where that's the pivot point. That's where the pivot point starts, and then the market continues. And then the 1 hour time frame, we didn't have much here on the 1 hour, for me and truly honest, except for like a 1 hour EVP forming. And that's really it, honestly. And then if you go down to like a 30-minute perspective, again, really just the same thing. You swept the highs, and that's kind of what I was waiting for, is the market to sweep these highs to then push down lower, and that's kind of the initial thought behind it. And then on the 15, we didn't have anything. On the 5 minute, we did seem a little bit more. Let me turn this music down. We did seem a little bit more bullish at first, and I was a little bit more skeptical because again, the trade idea wasn't really playing out to my favor, if I'm being truly honest. Or not the trade idea, but the bias was like. But then again, it does because again, you wouldn't want to see the market push up before then it pushes down lower. Um, and if you go down to like the 1 minute, this looks so nice. This 1 minute IFVG looks so nice. If I'm being truly honest, I just didn't take it though because again, my bias was bearish, and even this displacement, I was like, all right, if the market is going to continue pushing down lower, we can probably catch a retracement and then a continuation sequence. I was not against that. I just wanted more time in the market, and I just don't like trading 5 to 15 minutes of market open, especially with lack of displacement. Not displacement, but of lack of like just time. Lack of time and lack of like good market analysis being presented to me, especially with time too. And again, I was bearish, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna take longs. Yesterday and Friday, same scenario. I was bearish, but I took longs. I don't know why. The market does this. It has like a tendency where it, will form a bullish setup and a bearish market condition, and then eventually give you the A+ setup for the day. And it's been like just so tricky because again, I've been fading the highest quality setup and taking the lowest quality setup every single day. And again, it cost me Friday. I did lose. I got chopped up in there, and it is what it is. And then yesterday I went break even a little bit early because again, I just felt like it just wasn't there. It wasn't there. The bullishness wasn't there. So we decided to wait and take shorts. Again, we swept this high up here, and then the market started to push down lower. Once I saw this inversion form, I did not take it as soon as possible. Reason for is I felt like it was just way too soon. I didn't have enough displacement, and then eventually once this candle started to displace lower, I entered. Started displacing lower, started showing just strong continuation sequence, and then I looked for lower prices. I was gonna target this low if I was unfunded, but I just needed around 1.5 R, and my stop loss was above this high. And here are the executions. So yeah, here are the executions. 13 contracts. Again, using a risk calculator. Again, very very important. And then also the gamma levels were telling me that we were at a put wall. It was in a negative gamma environment, which is again, we're looking bearish to move down lower. And you can see here, 720 was the initial area, but before pre-market, this was your initial area. This was again another bearish confluence, which was 726. It was very, very bearish. It was strong negative gamma there. And then we drew the previous day high, previous day low on QQQ, but just never really fulfilled in terms of like reaching back to previous day low and then pushing down. Even though we did fill up, somewhat of the opening range gap, like around What's it like 50%? Let's see. Let's move all this real quick. Let's see what we got. It's right here. There. Measured moves. Okay, yeah, hold on. Go right here. I'm sorry, I put the wrong one. I did not realize. So yeah, we barely reached like we didn't even reach a quadrant really. We just reached an octant, and that was really it. And we started pushing down lower. Um, and that was really it. And then also volume was telling us lower prices here. If we go and add volume here as an indicator, um, just regular volume, you can see that there. Yeah. All right. If we go to the 5 minute here, you see there's so much bearish volume on the 5 minute compared to the buying volume. So, and initially I was like, all right, there's more selling than buying. I would ideally want to be continuing to be bearish until the buyers override the sellers, and then eventually I'm going to be bullish. But that never happened. The sellers stayed on top, and then the buyers tried to come in, and then more selling stepped in, and that's where the market started to melt. And again, I had more confidence in this trade because of that. Um, and that's really it, honestly. Like the sellers were more in control of today. Again, I'm not using order flow platforms. I'm not using anything. I'm just using, basic trading view analysis, and then of course options flow, which is again free. Until then, until we make the ROI back on majority and we start scaling, then eventually I'm going to start investing into better platforms, softwares and all that to enhance the trading. But right now, I think this is just more than enough. I think building the foundation is key, and then building the groundwork, building the foundation, and then eventually expanding from there, and then working your way to more advanced quant. That's kind of the objective really for me, is use quant analysis. Even though it's probably impossible because again they're all automated in X, Y, and Z, but I want to use something like right below that, like right below a quant analysis, and just advanced technical retail, not retail, but independent trader analysis. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. But here's the account. Let's go full screen here. So we're up 2.005 on this account, and then on this one we're up 2.194. And then if you go down to like the monthly calendar, you can see here Friday again we lost 1%, close to 1%, like 1.25 around there, almost 1.5. And then yeah, that's pretty much really it. We've been having this account almost for 3 weeks, bro. 3 weeks. I need to hurry up and get to it, either pass or fail. And that's really the objective. Because again, you don't want to be on these accounts for too long. I'd rather just start on a fresh batch. Especially if I was on drawdown, I probably just would continue risking more. Either just to bloat or to get to passing it as soon as possible. Especially if we're approaching that 4th week. But yeah, now we really just need one trade, and that's kind of the objective. Really, the one trade we need is just only like what, $1,000. So I'm gonna put like 1,050 as a target, and then just aim for a 1-to-1, and then it's pretty much really it. And then on the funded, again, just lowering the risk to 1.5%, and just expanding the time horizon and taking A+ setups again, just aiming for 1 to 1.5 R. And if we see like a setup like today, on a day like today, where just we can see potential for it to continue to melt, then of course just trailing the stop loss, and or just aiming for an objective and then just letting it run to that. It's super clear. Like this was clear. This would probably have to be like a break-even point, and then this would have to be like your final target, and that's kind of what the initial trade would have been. So that's pretty much really it, honestly. Again, 5 winning days, and you're targeting 1 to 1.5, and you're aiming for 1 to 1.5 R. That's $1,000 times 5 equals $5,000, and that's basically essentially a little bit more over a max payout. And that's kind of the objective: aim for a max payout on both 2 accounts, and then reinvest to max allocation, and then keeping these 2 accounts active and continuing to go. Because again, we're aiming for longevity and consistency, and just building the edge. So that's kind of what I'm about to go do, is continue to build alpha in my edge and continue to try to make it better and better every single day. So that's pretty much really it. I'll catch you guys, tomorrow maybe, if I do find a trade. If not, then I'll just do a market review, and yeah, that's it. Peace.